The French Riviera in the summer of 1994 was a place where reality blurred with fantasy. Cannes was a city of spectacle, where movie stars spilled out of limousines, where billionaires anchored yachts like floating palaces, and where luxury wasn't hidden behind walls, but displayed proudly under the Mediterranean sun. At the very heart of this golden playground stood the Carlton Hotel, a palace of white stone with sweeping balconies and glittering chandeliers. It wasn't just a hotel, it was a temple to wealth, glamour, and power. Inside its jewelry boutique, diamonds sparkled under perfect lighting, each one worth more than most people's lifetime earnings. Couples browsed casually. Collectors examined stones that glowed like captured stars. For them, it was just another day in paradise. But beneath the surface of the Riviera's beauty, there were shadows. The Carlton was not just a monument to wealth, it was a target. Where the rich gathered, so too did temptation. Where diamonds glittered, someone, somewhere, was plotting to take them. And on July 28, 1994, those shadows stepped boldly into the light. In broad daylight, in front of terrified guests, 3 masked men stormed into the Carlton, shattered its illusion of safety, and vanished into legend. This is the story of the Carlton Hotel Diamond Heist. A robbery so daring, so precise, that nearly 30 years later, it is still remembered as the perfect crime of Cannes. Summer mornings in Cannes followed a rhythm. By late morning, the beaches were crowded, luxury yachts filled the harbor, and the Carlton Hotel was alive with movement. Staff bustled across its marble floors. Guests lingered in boutiques, sipping champagne while browsing diamonds. Outside, Ferraris and Bentleys gleamed under the Riviera sun. But what most failed to notice was the silence in the shadows. For weeks before the heist, a crew of men had blended into this world. They were not tourists, not celebrities, they were hunters. They studied guard rotations, memorized escape routes, and calculated how many seconds it would take to smash each display case. The Carlton looked impenetrable, but for men who thrived on discipline and planning, it was a stage waiting for its drama. And when the curtain rose on July 28, 1994, the act began. It was just after 11:30 a.m. The boutique sparkled with jewelry under the chandeliers. Wealthy shoppers drifted between cases, attendants hovering politely. To them, it was another ordinary morning in paradise. Then the doors slammed open. 3 men in ski masks stormed in, rifles raised. The first shot echoed like thunder, blasting plaster from the ceiling. Guests screamed and dropped to the floor. Staff froze in shock. But the robbers moved with precision, not panic. One controlled the lobby, weapons sweeping across terrified guests. Another smashed glass displays with the butt of his rifle, diamonds cascading onto velvet like falling stars. The third scooped treasures into a black duffel bag. It lasted seconds, but to the people inside, it stretched like eternity. The violence wasn't random, it was calculated. No one was shot. No one was physically harmed. The robbers barked orders only when necessary, their movements smooth, efficient, practiced. The boutique transformed into a scene of controlled chaos. Shoppers lay trembling on the marble floors, ears ringing from gunfire. Staff could only watch as the life's work of jewelers, millions in diamonds, disappeared into black bags. By the time someone managed to raise an alarm, the thieves were nearly finished. Outside, the French Riviera still basked in the sun, oblivious to the storm brewing inside the Carlton. This was no ordinary smash and grab. It was choreography, a brutal ballet of precision. And then, as suddenly as it began, it was over. The masked men stormed out, duffel bags heavy with fortune. To some tourists outside, it looked like a movie scene. Cannes, after all, was a city where cinema ruled. But the bags weren't props. The rifles weren't toys. This wasn't a performance, it was one of the greatest jewel robberies of the century. The men disappeared into the Riviera streets. Some witnesses claimed they saw a dark car speeding away. Others swore they saw motorcycles. Some even said the robbers melted into the crowd on foot. By the time police arrived, the men were gone. The Carlton was left stunned, its floors littered with shattered glass and dust. Within hours, the heist dominated headlines. $60 million in diamonds stolen at Carlton Hotel, screamed French newspapers. TV broadcasts replayed the aftermath. The boutique wrecked, tourists in shock, police cordoning off the hotel. The Carlton, once synonymous with glamour, now carried a stain of humiliation. The jewelers demanded justice. The insurance companies panicked. How could three men, armed but controlled, walk into a fortress of wealth, steal a fortune in broad daylight, and simply vanish? The robbery exposed more than a lapse in security. It revealed that even the Riviera, with all its luxury, was vulnerable. The investigation began immediately. Police called in reinforcements. Interpol got involved. But the trail went cold almost instantly. No diamonds turned up on the black market. No fences attempted to move the loot. Not a single suspect was positively identified. Rumors filled the void. Some claimed the infamous Pink Panthers, the Balkan jewel thieves who would later become legendary, were behind it. Others suspected Corsican crime families or Russian mafia. But without evidence, the Carlton heist became something rarer than a crime. It became a myth. 30 years later, the Carlton heist remains unsolved. No diamonds have ever been recovered, ever been made. The loot, $60 million in glittering stones, is gone as if it never existed. But the legacy remains. The Carlton robbery is remembered not for its bloodshed, but for its elegance. 3 men. 5 minutes. No deaths. A fortune stolen. The Carlton itself survived. Its chandeliers still shine, its suites still host royalty and stars. Writers, whispers linger about that July morning when masked men rewrote the Riviera's story. The Carlton Hotel Diamond Heist endures because it feels more like art than crime. It was not messy. It was not reckless. It was swift, precise, almost theatrical. The diamonds themselves may now be scattered across the globe. Some cut down and sold quietly in jewelry shops, some hidden away in secret vaults, some perhaps adorning the neck of someone who knows the story but never admits it. Their trail has vanished. But the true legacy of the Carlton heist isn't the missing stones, it's the myth. The story that has lasted decades, retold in documentaries, whispered in crime circles, studied in police academies. On that July morning in 1994, in less than 5 minutes, 3 masked men did more than steal diamonds. They stole the illusion of safety from one of the world's most glamorous cities. They reminded us all that even in paradise, shadows are waiting. Patient, silent, and ready to strike. And that is why, nearly 30 years later, the Carlton Hotel heist is still remembered not just as a robbery, but as a haunting masterpiece.